In 1958, a man walked into Enzo Ferrari's office with a complaint about his car. He wasn't aggressive, he wasn't emotional. He was calm, technical, and precise. He had bought a Ferrari, the clutch kept failing. And as a man who manufactured clutches for a living, he knew exactly what was wrong and exactly how to fix it. Enzo Ferrari listened, then looked at him and said, "You are a tractor farmer. What could you possibly know about sports cars?" The man walked out, said nothing. But 14 years later, that tractor farmer's cars were outselling Ferrari. Today, we're going inside one of the greatest revenge stories in business history. A man who started with dirt on his hands, who was publicly dismissed by the most powerful figure in the car industry, and who responded not with anger, but with a decade of relentless work. What he built changed the supercar world forever. A small village in northern Italy, Ferruccio Lamborghini is born to a family of grape farmers, and from the beginning, he is different. While other farm boys follow their fathers into the fields, Ferruccio spends every free hour taking apart engines, tractors, motorcycles, anything mechanical he can find. He has a gift that no classroom could teach. He could hear a machine and know exactly what was wrong with it. World War II sends him to the Italian Air Force as a mechanic. Under impossible conditions, he learns things about engines that most trained engineers never discover. When the war ends, he comes home with nothing but his hands and one idea. Italian farmers are still working with horses. Ferruccio looks at the broken military vehicles scattered across the countryside and sees an opportunity nobody else does. By 1948, Lamborghini Trattori is born. By the mid-1950s, it's one of Italy's most successful tractor companies. And wealthy men in 1950s Italy bought Ferraris. Ferruccio loved his Ferrari, but there was always the same problem. The clutch kept failing. And Ferruccio wasn't just any customer. He manufactured clutches. He understood the mechanism better than most engineers alive. And he recognized immediately that Ferrari's design was poorly adapted for a road car. So he did what any reasonable man would do. He drove to Maranello, waited to be received, and told Enzo Ferrari, respectfully, technically, that the clutch was flawed and that he knew how to fix it. Enzo Ferrari stared at him. Then, "Ferruccio, leave the cars to me. Go back to your tractors." The room went quiet. Ferruccio walked out. And this is where most men would have gone home, complained to their friends, and eventually bought another Ferrari anyway. Ferruccio Lamborghini was not most men. Quick question. If the most powerful person in your industry publicly humiliated you like that, what would you do? Drop it in the comments. I genuinely want to know. And if you're not subscribed yet, the people who watch this channel don't just consume stories, they study them. Subscribe, because next week we go somewhere even more explosive. Back to the story. Ferruccio drove home in silence and made a decision that everyone around him called insane. He was going to build a sports car, not a tractor, not a truck. A sports car that would be better than Ferrari in every way that mattered. His friends laughed. His business partners warned him. One engineer reportedly told him directly, "You can build a tractor. You cannot build a Ferrari." Ferruccio replied, "I know. I'm going to build something better." He hired the best engineers he could find, many of them poached directly from Ferrari and Maserati. He built his factory in Sant'Agata Bolognese, 12 miles from Ferrari's front door. 12 miles. that was not an accident. In 1963, just 5 years after the insult, the first Lamborghini was unveiled at the Turin Motor Show. The crowd stopped, not because it looked like a Ferrari, because it didn't. It was something entirely its own, cleaner, more powerful, more refined. And the same industry that had once laughed at a tractor farmer was now calling his car the future of performance. What happened next shocked the car world. The Lamborghini Miura, launched in 1966, didn't just compete with Ferrari. Automotive journalists who had dismissed Lamborghini as a joke were now writing that it was the most beautiful, most technically advanced car ever built. The mid-engine layout it introduced became the template every supercar manufacturer would follow for decades. Enzo Ferrari, the man who had told Ferruccio to go back to his tractors, was now watching his own customers walk into Lamborghini showrooms instead. At the center of every Lamborghini hood, a charging bull, named after famous fighting bulls from Spanish arenas. But everyone who knew the story understood exactly what that bull was charging at. Every car carried a fighter's name: Miura, Countach, Diablo, Murcielago. Each one an answer to a room that went quiet in Maranello in 1958. Today, Lamborghini operates in over 50 countries. Its cars start at over $200,000. The brand is worth over $10 billion. And on the wall of Lamborghini's museum in Sant'Agata Bolognese, there is a photograph of Ferruccio, a farmer's son with grease under his fingernails, who was told by the most powerful man in his industry that he didn't belong. He didn't argue. He didn't complain. He just built. That is the difference between people who talk about revenge and people who actually get it. So here's what I want to leave you with. Ferruccio was dismissed, humiliated, and told to stay in his lane. He didn't respond with anger. He responded with a decade of work and built something that outlasted the man who insulted him. Has anyone ever told you that you didn't belong? That you were too ordinary, too small, too much of a tractor farmer? Drop it in the comments, because the most dangerous person in any room is the one who was told they couldn't. And next week, an app downloaded over 2 billion times, used by your kids, your friends, maybe you. And according to the United States government, it was never really yours to begin with. See you there.